In episode 51, Domain 4 Overview, Risk Response, we begin the shift from understanding to acting. Up to this point, analysis has helped us see where uncertainty lives and how it behaves. Now, the focus moves to what we do about it. Risk response is where insight turns into motion, where theoretical probability becomes operational change. The purpose is not to eliminate uncertainty, but to shape it into acceptable form, using decisions that align with appetite and capacity. A plan unacted is just a study. Response gives analysis its meaning, translating knowledge into controlled movement toward the project's goals. Every response aims to reduce exposure credibly, not theatrically. Credibility means the link between the action and the risk is direct, traceable, and evidence-based. Painting walls with optimism or producing documents labeled mitigation plan changes nothing unless the mechanism of change is sound. Reducing exposure means lowering either the likelihood of occurrence, the magnitude of consequence, or the time the organization stays vulnerable. A credible reduction survives scrutiny because it can be measured, replicated, and verified after the fact. Each response must answer one question clearly: what changes in reality once we do this? Responses also live within appetite boundaries, the organization's tolerance for loss, disruption, and uncertainty. Appetite defines what is acceptable, boundaries define what is not, and response calibrates between them. If an organization accepts moderate cost volatility but low schedule risk, mitigation must target time more aggressively than money. Alignment keeps priorities coherent and avoids overspending on protection that does not matter to leadership. It also creates a common language between analysts and executives. Actions can be justified not as personal preference, but as rational positioning within agreed boundaries. Before diving into tactics, define the families of response strategy available. The four classic categories, avoid, transfer, mitigate, and accept, each express a philosophy. Avoidance changes scope or approach to remove the exposure entirely. Transfer shifts responsibility or financial consequence to another party. Mitigation reduces probability or impact through targeted intervention. Acceptance acknowledges residual risk and prepares to manage consequences when they occur. Choosing the family first simplifies the later discussion of tactics. It prevents scattered brainstorming by clarifying intent. Are we escaping, sharing, shrinking, or enduring this risk? Integration with scope, schedule, and budget ensures that response becomes part of project planning rather than a side conversation. Each control action touches at least one of these elements. Adding redundancy may change scope. Compressing tasks may shift schedule. Training may require funding. A response without integration invites conflict later when competing priorities collide. Linking risk actions to the work breakdown structure, timeline, and cost baseline creates visibility. The integrated plan allows managers to see not only what the project delivers, but how it stays resilient while delivering. Assigning owners, securing funding, and setting timelines convert plans into accountability. Every response needs a person or role who ensures execution and verifies results. Funding defines realism. Without budget, even excellent intent dissolves. Timelines align effort with urgency, ensuring mitigation occurs before exposure peaks. A response missing any of these three elements, owner, money, or time, is a placeholder, not a plan. Mature organizations treat these assignments as binding agreements. Once established, they transform risk management from advisory commentary into managed work with deadlines and deliverables. Define measurable success criteria at the start. Clear metrics turn vague comfort into trackable progress. For instance, reduce defect backlog by 30% before release is actionable, while improve quality assurance is not. Metrics can describe frequency reduction, impact limitation, response time, or readiness level. The choice matters less than the clarity. Measurable criteria allow post-action review, connecting the dots between cause and effect. They also motivate teams because achievement becomes visible. Success criteria are the checkpoints where analysis and execution meet to prove that the system learns, not just reports. Coordinate responses across dependencies and teams because risks rarely stay in one lane. A mitigation in engineering may create exposure in procurement, or a scheduling change may alter resource pressure elsewhere. Coordination means tracing ripple effects before committing. It also means sequencing responses so that shared constraints, like skilled labor or equipment, are not double-booked. Cross-team alignment reduces the risk of fixing one problem by creating another. Regular coordination meetings, even short ones, keep the web of response coherent. The best mitigations operate as ensemble moves, not solo acts. Communicate commitments and expected effects openly. When leadership knows what actions are underway, they can adjust expectations and monitor value. When teams know what others are doing, they can avoid duplication and identify synergies. Communication converts local control into collective intelligence. It also signals seriousness. Announcing a mitigation publicly commits the organization to follow through. Include rationale, timing, and projected effect in each communication. The act of explaining the plan often refines it, surfacing unclear assumptions before they become executional friction. Tracking leading indicators of progress allows early correction. Lagging indicators, like reduced downtime after a quarter, confirm results but offer little warning. Leading indicators, such as training completion or inventory coverage, show whether the mitigation engine is turning. They serve as feedback loops that guide resource adjustment before outcomes drift. A balanced mix of both keeps management informed and proactive. When indicators move the wrong way, response leadership can recalibrate fast, an agility that distinguishes effective risk management from ceremonial routines. When assumptions shift, replan quickly rather than defending the obsolete. Every mitigation rests on assumptions about context, resources, and behavior. When those assumptions change, clinging to the old plan wastes effort. Replanning is not failure, it is adaptation. Build flexibility into governance so that updating actions is normal, not punished. The cost of small, frequent replans is far lower than the cost of rigid persistence. By treating response as living design rather than fixed architecture, the team stays responsive to reality, which is the ultimate measure of maturity. Document rationale thoroughly to maintain audit trails and institutional memory. Each decision should include the logic behind chosen strategies, the rejected alternatives, and the data or judgment supporting the choice. Documentation builds transparency, satisfying auditors and helping successors understand the reasoning when circumstances evolve. It also protects credibility during reviews because you can show that decisions were deliberate and proportional, not reactive. Think of documentation not as bureaucracy, but as the written record of professional discipline. It is evidence that risk management is thinking in action, not superstition in disguise. Learning and iteration link the end of one cycle to the start of the next. After each significant response, conduct a brief review. What worked, what failed, and what surprised us. Capture both successes and stumbles because both sharpen intuition. Iteration closes the loop between risk identification, analysis, response, and monitoring. Over time, patterns emerge, where the organization systematically underestimates certain drivers or overperforms in specific domains. Continuous learning turns risk management from a sequence of tasks into an evolving craft. In the end, action beats elegant plans. A moderate response executed promptly and tracked well delivers more value than a perfect mitigation still waiting for approval. The essence of Domain 4 is motion. Decisions made, owners engaged, outcomes measured, and learning recycled. Through clear alignment, accountable ownership, and disciplined adaptation, analysis matures into impact. Risk response is where strategy earns its proof. By turning uncertainty into managed behavior, you demonstrate that risk management is not about prediction, it is about performance under pressure. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit BareMetalCyber.com.